In the summer of 1972,
Hmm.
the enchanting world of Hanna-Barbera came to life in the heart of Kings Island, Ohio. It all began as a dream in 1969 when plans were set in motion to create a signature attraction that would captivate guests of all ages. Hello, everybody. Alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast for Kings Island fans by Kings Island fans because that's who we are and that's who we care about.
Yeah, Enchanted Voyage, that's one I never got to ride, but I assume you did.
I did ride it. It was one of my favorite
Yeah,
attractions.
awesome. Let's start with the summer of '72. What the ride finally comes to fruition. Um, Talk about the collaboration between Kings Island and Hanna Barbera to make this ride come to life.
Well, it was the Coney Island management team, which was going to be running Kings Island. They embarked on a collaborative venture with Hanna-Barbera. You know, they're the renowned cartoon studio out in Hollywood. And this partnership gave birth to the Enchanted Voyage. It was a groundbreaking animated dark ride. It was the most expensive attraction when Kings Island first opened, just very immersive. Really, there was nothing else like that out there anywhere in the industry. The closest thing would have been the Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ride cost $1 million, which sounds like about how much they spend in maybe bathroom caulk nowadays. But back then, that was a tons of money.
Big money back then.
Everyone thinks the Eiffel Tower is the most expensive piece, but it was not. It was close though, I think. Um, so what role did the animators of popular Hanna-Barbera cartoon shows like The Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, Yogi Bear, and so on play in shopping the concept of this new attraction?
Well, it played a pivotal role in shaping the concept for the Enchanted Voyage. Their creativity, they produced 29 intricate drawings that outline the essence of the boat ride within a darkened building.
Oh, that's interesting. So what were some of the key elements of the 29 drawings that outlined the ride?
Well, these 29 drawings encompass six themed sections, each contributing to the unique charm of the attraction. They depicted a variety of scenes from dark caves with moving plants to a joyful like hoedown and with a hillbilly band. So just a lot of different things were part of this. So if you watched the Hanna-Barbera cartoons at the time, they were all depicted throughout this attraction.
Yeah, it it looks like, the artists, from Kings Island collaborated with the Hanna-Barbera people from the studio. Talk about that collaboration and how they're able to infuse both of their work together to make the ride come to life.
Well, what they did was the artists at Kings Island used these drawings to create a meticulous scale model of the animated dark ride. They blended the ideas from the cartoon studio with their own creative concepts, and that resulted in this remarkable transformation that went from this model, just drawings, just a thought process, a vision of what this could be to an actual project.
Hmm. Now, walk us through like this magical experience. So people enter the ride. What were some of the captivating scenes that brought this ride to life?
Well, the Enchanted Voyage had provided guests with an enchanted journey. Guests would step into a slowly revolving turntable. Now, they also had that, if you rode the other flume ride that they had, Killboat Canal. So it also had that same kind of turntable before embarking on a nine-passenger boat. The boat followed along about a 700-foot long water trop. It was there where they floated through a giant television screen. So when you kind of entered into the ride, it looked like you were going into a big TV. And scenes included a dark cave, as we mentioned. There was a wedding in the land of the little people, that lively hoedown, a haunted house. There was a grand circus arena at the end of the ride. Just really a spectacular attraction.
Yeah, and one thing that I learned just from looking at photos and stuff is that the entrance is not where the dark ride entrance is now. It's kind of like almost exactly where the doors are for the Peanuts show place, as they call it now. And then the
Correct.
turnaround would be
Correct.
right kind of in that small plaza right in front of it. So that's interesting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the turnaround right now you have, the little kids coaster there, the Great Pumpkin coaster in that spot where that was.
Yeah. So the theme song of the Enchanted Voyage is something that's unforgettable that people that never got to ride the ride like me even know. What's the story behind that?
Well, that theme song, as you mentioned, it remains unforgettable for anyone that experienced this attraction. It was orchestrated by Hanna-Barbera music producer Paul DeCorte with the melody. The melody was done by William Hanna, and the lyrics written by Coney Island executive. You might have heard of the name Dennis Spiegel. He was involved with this. He actually went out to California, and they were on a boat. He told me when they came up with the catchy tune that left a lasting impression on millions of guests. And it goes a little something like this.
Cartoon friends with funny faces, Jinx and those little DC chases. And you'll love the wacky racers live in my TV. I'm friends with Fred who yells out yabba dabba
Yeah,
do.
I could see why that would be a pretty catchy tune. Um, so let's talk about uh the Enchanted Voyage, and eventually it was converted into a Smurfs Enchanted Voyage. How did they do that? Like, it's 1984, they converted it to Smurfs. What was the reasoning behind that, and how did they still captivate audiences with a new intellectual property?
Well, at the time, the Enchanted Voyage is, 12 years old. The park opened in 72, so by the time you got to 84, it was in need of a refresh. The Smurfs, very big. They had kind of made their way into the park, so it made a lot of sense to incorporate them into the retheming of the ride at that time.
Yeah. So ultimately, when everything was said and done, 47 million riders. Let's talk a little bit about the impact that had on Kings Island and its history.
Yeah, you said 47 million riders, 47,380,000, riders on there. So 47380,374 would be the official number of riders. That ranks second only to the racer in the number of rides given at the time it was retired and made way for Phantom Theater. And it continues, to be in the top rides all time at Kings Island in the fourth position on the all time rides given list.
Wow. So besides like its popularity as far as ridership goes, what are some of the elements that you think in hindsight made it such a strong piece of Kings Island history and such a nostalgic ride to look back upon?
I think because of its timeless appeal, I think that's why it was beloved. It combined the magic of animation with the immersive experience of a boat ride. Everyone loves getting in a boat ride, especially if it's going to take you into an air-conditioned environment. And I think those kind of things, all those characters were memorable. Everyone had grown up watching them in your TV set, and now they're coming to life in this attraction. I think those are the kind of things that made it an unforgettable attraction in Kings Island's history.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, so I guess it comes down to it. It's like, we talk a lot about, Phantom Theater, Scooby Doo and the Haunted Castle, Boo Busters on Boo Hill. There's been a lot of iterations of dark rides in that building itself. But do you miss Enchanted Voyage?
Oh, I do. I mean, it was like I said, it was one of my favorite attractions. Rode it multiple times. Every time I visited, in fact, it is one of 6 rides that I have over 1,000 rides on in the park's history, so I rode it 1,066 times, so it was definitely something that, when I went to the park, I looked forward to experiencing it, very, very much ingrained, into my memories and, just visiting the park over the years.
Awesome. Well, rest in peace, Enchanted Voyage. Wish I got to ride you. Uh,
A lot of
all
fun.
right. So what's we got another segment for the show.
We do. Let's move on to the follower, question, so you can follow us on the Tower Topics. It's Tower underscore Topics. And this question comes from Coaster Conquest. They asked, would you like to see the return of a Phantom Theater dark ride? Well, one word answer for that from me. Absolutely. What about you, Ryan?
Maybe. Because if they don't do it right, then I don't want it. If it's gonna be uh, foam board and screens and stuff like that, then I'd rather just remember Phantom Theater the way it was. But if they were gonna, we're gonna bring this back, we're gonna modernize it, it's gonna be a true investment. We're gonna tell the next generation of the story, probably not do the shooter thing. I probably wouldn't be in favor of that. Then 110%. Absolutely. I'd love to see Phantom Theater come back. I wouldn't want it to come back at all costs.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that with the technology that's out there today that wasn't around when it debuted 30 years ago, that you could really make something special there,
Hmm.
something that would be long lasting, that just goes on, years from now. It's one of those staple attractions that you have to do. along with the Beast, the blue ice cream, those kinds of things. So I think that is the one thing that is really missing from Kings Island's lineup is that immersive dark ride
Right.
experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. They've been lacking a dark ride since Phantom Theater, I would argue. I would say that Scooby Doo and the Haunted Castle and Boo Blasters are both kind of understatements when it comes to dark rides. But yeah, I'd love to see Phantom Theater come back done properly, done with respect, and done with respect to the guest in terms of not having it and just calling it Phantom Theater, actually making it a really good sequel or remake of Phantom Theater. Cool.
I
I
agree.
love that question. We get asked that so much, and I will answer it every day of the week, twice on Sunday, because that's the Lord's Day. Anyway, I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topic.